Hello, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Monday, the 23rd of May. I hope that you've all had a fantastic weekend. Not much happened this weekend. Don't know if anybody had watched any of the football or anything. Graham probably got some dubs on Saturday playing PUBG. I definitely got one yesterday playing Fortnite in build mode, which I just jumped into to be able to do some of the challenges. Wasn't expecting to win one game, one win. Obviously, I'm an absolute beast in build mode. I just need to not play zero build and just play build mode. But anyway, yeah, it's been quite a good weekend. There was some football stuff yesterday, but we're not really gonna talk about that. Champions, ole ole. And to be fair, I didn't think it was gonna happen. It looked for a long time like it wasn't gonna happen, but then it did happen, and then yeah, I was elated. I wasn't stomping around the front room, being super moody, trying not to wake my boy up as he was down for his afternoon nap, and Samantha to asking me to stop pacing around the front room because I'm going to wake him up, and then jumping up and down when we ended up scoring to make it 2-2 and thinking this might be the thing. It's a good time for us. It was brilliant. We stopped Liverpool doing the quadruple. That's all I'm asked about. Winning the Premier League, it's no mean feat. Do you know what I mean? 38 games, you've got to be better for, and we absolutely was. Went neck and neck, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, enough of the football talk. You're not here to listen to me talk about football. I could talk about football, but it would just bore the arse off most people who aren't Manchester City fans, especially if you're a United fan and you're playing Europa League next year. But there's every chance that you might end up picking up a trophy there. I think you're definitely good enough to be able to win it. I think you will be odds on to win it alongside Arsenal, but who knows, ladies and gentlemen? Who knows? But I see Tom's in the chat. He's here waving. Hello, he was in here nice and early. As well as Iceman saying, what time do you call this, baby? 10 a.m. you said when you signed off yesterday. No-ish. Well, you're the mug that believed me in the first place. Never believe anything I say. Jesus. Whoa, Arsenal too inconsistent to win anything. I agree. And so are United. I thought this was a video game podcast. It absolutely is. We just like to have a talk about the weekend. Listen, Monday's show is always a catch-up over what we've done over the weekend. Graham isn't here today at this moment in time. He is currently on work calls, which is obviously why you've just got me for the time being. He may end up jumping on halfway through, who knows? But just take it as it is. You've only got me for the time being. So yeah, we would usually ask each other how our weekends went and stuff like that, but I don't have the facility to be able to do that because I don't have anyone here to have that conversation with apart from you guys in the chat, which none of you are City fans, so all of your opinions are all irrelevant. You've won fuck all. Doesn't matter. I'm only joking. Was there football on yesterday? I had no idea. Yeah, well, you probably wouldn't do. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Video Game Podcast, UK's #1 video game podcast, I might add, where we go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. ish. It's definitely 1:15. It's definitely after morning, but we do work in the video games industry, so therefore this is something that we do as like it's a passion project, something that we like to go live with every single day. We like to give you the news. We like to scrape it all together, just so you're able, if you're walking the dog later on this evening, if you are working from home, as I know a lot of you guys are, you just have us on in the background. You just want to be kept up with the video game news that's currently circling around the world. You like us to be able to talk about it. We love to be able to give you that, and we do give it you in various formats. If you are listening to any of our podcast services, that includes Google Play, iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Or later in the evening, if you want to sit down, you've got a nice cup of tea, a little Earl Grey there with a little bit of sweetener in, a little bit of milk. That's how I like mine, even though Earl Grey, you're not supposed to have milk, but I do have it anyway. You like to be able to just sort of get us on the big screen. You're watching this probably on YouTube or any of our on-demand services, including Twitch as well. But yes, that's pretty much the intro to this podcast. Usually it's me and Graham that go through this, but as mentioned, he isn't here for the time being. So it will just be me that are going through the news. Please bear with me. My throat is a little sore after shouting various times yesterday. And then, I don't know if anybody's seen the picture that I posted yesterday. If you haven't, it's probably one of my favourite pictures. Not staged at all. Me picking the boy up as if he was a trophy next to the boys lifting the trophy. I absolutely love that picture. I've not made it my cover wallpaper on anything. But yeah, you got to enjoy the small things. I think it was only F1 yesterday, says Iceman. It's something that a sport that I've never really got into. Buying a trophy isn't winning it. No, but it helps you get there. You know what I mean? It helps you get there. Sports washing at its finest. To be fair, I need to watch Match of the Day yesterday. Sounded like a great day of football. It absolutely was. About right that Gerrard lets Liverpool title slip again. Fantastic. Earl Grey out my fancy. Basically, as a kid growing up, I spent most of my time at my nan's house. And my nan is obviously significantly older than I am. And she's quite a posh lady, and she just drinks Earl Grey. She doesn't really drink anything else. She has a few coffees or whatever, but Earl Grey is definitely her tipple, which therefore, as a young child growing up drinking tea, that was usually my tipple as well. It's just something that I've continued to drink, as well as Yorkshire tea. I'm a big Yorkshire tea fan. Love it. I used to be a fan of PG Tips, kind of went downhill. Don't know what they've managed to change there or anything, but Earl Grey will always be at the top of the list for me. I do love it. It's just really bitter, though, so you can't really have too many of them. Chelsea says, Bibby, I nearly shit myself yesterday. Same. Various times. Town says, yes, saw it early and I liked it. JMK says, morning-ish. Oh, good morning to you, sir. Next, you were telling me a chocolate is just a tin of Ferrero Rochers. No, actually, I do love Ferrero Rochers. Anything nutty, I'm a massive fan of. Taysbad says, hi all. Good after morning, sir. My favourite chocolate, fruit and nut, believe it or not. I absolutely love fruit and nut. I mean, I'm proper leaning into the dad vibe stuff here. I've managed to get my light working, by the way. Bing, there he is. Let's make that purple. There we go. Boom. Yeah, I'm a massive fan of fruit and nut. I'm proper leaning into all the dad stuff, obviously, because I'm an alphaja. Anything nutty he loves in his mouth, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Great victory yesterday, stopped Liverpool winning the title. I think there was a lot of people, right, during the week that wanted to see Liverpool make history, but also at the same time wanted them to lose, which I find extremely bizarre. But people trying to support Manchester City is kind of alien to me. Obviously, not a lot of people support us. Just rather we are the lesser of two evils when it comes to Man United. When it comes to Liverpool, it's just the way it is. I always want Liverpool to to lose, says Chelsea. But yeah, you're here for video game stuff, and that's exactly what we're going to get into. This top is getting a little bit big for me. I'm not saying that I'm losing weight or anything like that, but it feels like it's getting a little bit baggier, which I'm not depressed about, because I'm playing football a lot more, and I'm walking like 5 miles when I go to golf because I can't hit it straight. I'm going into trees, I'm going into bushes. Do you know what I mean? If I hit it straight, I'm probably walking 2 or 3 miles, but I fucking hit it everywhere. It's just adding more steps to my daily life, but this might have to go in the bin soon. This might have to go in the bin. You know what I mean? I'm starting to lose the tits. Anyway, enough about my tits. Let's get on with the video game news. So, our lead story today, Amazon and Disney are merging with EA. Now, I've kind of made that a little bit clickbaity because I couldn't word it in something that would make it even more clickbaity. This is the lesser of two evils, if I'm being honest. I've kind of done myself a disservice with how I've listed this, but I really wanted to try and get Amazon and Disney both into the keywords alongside EA. So this is why I've gone with this. It doesn't make absolute sense, but when I come to read the news article, you definitely will understand why I've done that. Then we have a couple of PlayStation articles, obviously, because we are a PlayStation podcast. PlayStation tops 100 million users. Sorry, just burped there. PlayStation Network tops 100 million users ahead of its first premium rollout, as well as the PlayStation Network might be coming to PC, which is fantastic because that would have helped significantly yesterday when Graham said that he wanted to jump into the chat. He wanted to jump into some Fortnite games, but he couldn't be asked going up to his studio. Understandable. But on the PC, they've obviously got the Xbox dashboard on there, so if people are playing on Xbox, he doesn't have to log into his Xbox account. He just loads up, fires up the game bar, boom, he's in the Xbox party chat. If that comes to PC, game changer, need that. And then we also have some Xbox news when they're saying it's reportedly it turned down Marvel's offer to make exclusive games. That feels like a bit of a drop bollock, but we'll go into that news. And then we'll finish off with the days of Metacritic determining how well a game sells are long gone, says the Saber boss. So we have 5 news articles for you today. It's probably going to be a shortish show, probably 40-45 minutes, because we don't have that conversation between me and Graham, and then obviously we'll chip in with you guys as well, bringing you into the conversation. It's just me, so it's a chat between me and you guys as well. So that probably will bring the show runtime down by about 25 minutes, because me and Graham like to talk. That's just the way this podcast runs. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the first news article. If I go to this and then I do this, fingers crossed it comes up on the screen. There we go. You love to see it. I'm just going to take a quick swig of me brew. One sec. Oh, yes. I'm just having a look in the chat. GG on that baby. Talk about my tits. Chelsea, golf. G's, you are getting old. Yeah, I'm too fat to play football anymore, mate. So I've got to do something that involves a lot of walking, which is golf. Or we call it whack fuck, because when you whack it, you do a really shit shot and you instantly shout fuck. But anyway, moving on to the first news article of the day, VGC. Andy Robinson writes, EA is allegedly pursuing a sale and has talked to Apple, Amazon and Disney. A new report claims that the publisher entered into talks about a potential Comcast merger. Now, in his pissed up wisdom, Tito did submit this into the wrong place, but he rectified it the very next day. So thank you very much for submitting this one, Tito. Very much appreciate making my job a little bit easier in the morning. Moving on to the main body of the article, then, Electronic Arts is claimed to be actively pursuing a sale merger in the wake of a recent M&A activity in the games industry, such as Microsoft's $68.7 billion acquisition of Activision. That's according to a new report by news site Puck Paywalled, which also seems that EA has been persistent in pursuing a sale. It has also held talks with Disney, Apple, Amazon, and Comcast NBC Universal. Comcast NBC Universal is hyphenated. I'm guessing they're a merged company. I have no idea because it seems it's an American company, so why would I know that? It's claimed that in talks with the later progressed the furthest, before eventually falling apart last month, with Comcast CEO Brian Roberts allegedly proposing to spin off NBC Universal and merge his company with EA. This is a quote, by the way. The general terms of the proposal, which lawyers and bankers for both sides negotiated for several weeks, would have seen the Roberts family take the majority control of the combined entity. Closed quotes. The report claims, open quotes, in the configuration most seriously discussed, the company would have been run by Wilson, close quotes. The proposal said that it's fallen apart last month due to a disagreement over price and structure. A spokesperson from Comcast declined to comment, while EA said it would not comment on rumours and speculation regarding AMA. The report also goes on to claim that sources have indicated that FIFA and Battlefield publisher has been persistent in pursuing a sale and has only grown more embroiled in the wake of Activision-Microsoft deal. Others say that EA is primarily interested in a merger arrangement that would allow Wilson to remain as chief executive of the combined company, it adds. Because video games have outperformed many industries hurt by the pandemic, public and private investors have started to target the industry as a perceived safe bet. M&A activity in the games industry has hit a record $85 billion in 2021 and has been forecast to reach $150 billion this year, with huge deals such as Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard and Take-Two's buyout of Zynga having already been announced in 2022. Last month, it was reported that another major games publisher, Ubisoft, was attracting takeover interest from several private equity firms, including Blackstone Inc. and KKR and Co. End of article. So, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like EA is actively looking to try and sell either some of their assets or the company itself. Now, when I say some of the assets, I don't think that that people won't just be buying EA for EA. They'll be buying it for the assets that they are obviously contain, assets being the games that they possess and the franchises that they already look at. So I don't know whether or not they would be interested in selling some of the IPs to other companies or EA just as a whole combined thing. So let me try and break that down. Interestingly, obviously, Microsoft buying Activision for $69.7 billion or whatever it was, that's a hell of a lot of money. EA will try to EA want to obviously try and make as much money as they can, which they already do. They make billions through their video games anyway, with the likes of Foot, Madden, NHL, and then obviously all the first-person shooters that they look after as well, including Apex and Battlefield. They are a behemoth of video games. So when it comes to selling off some of their assets, I don't think that they will be looking at selling it and then just getting rid of it, like just moving FIFA on. That'll never be the case. That'll never be the case. They'll never just get rid of that. Same with Battlefield. They'll try and sell it all as one. Now, obviously, trying to get into conversations with Apple, Amazon, and Disney. Three companies that will be looking at potentially expanding their portfolio whilst also having the money to be able to get this over the line. So, do I think that EA will look to... Will EA be able to get as much money as they think they can get, and will EA ever sell this? I don't think so. I don't think EA will sell Always watching, says Graham. I don't think that they will ever be able to sell their assets or sell their companies. I just think EA, whatever money that they think they're going to be getting for this, because they'll just be taking all the money that they'll get for FUT, for NHL, for Madden, through their microtransactions. They'll be looking at that, putting it up in a nice bowl and saying, okay, you can buy this for $100 billion. Like, no one's going to buy that. If they do, it'll be in stages, and they'll probably just want all the money at once. But they will never sell it as a full asset. They will be looking at probably trying to get people into buy maybe a majority stake, so 51%, so they will own 49%. I'm not too sure. These business deals are far too complicated for me. I just don't think EA will be able to sell their assets to try and make as much money as they think they will be able to, or actually entitled to. I don't know if anybody else shares that kind of same thoughts on this. I never thought EA would be looking to sell their assets, if I'm being completely honest. I never thought they would be up for sale, but everybody's got a price. Aspen says, about to say, where is the lazy best? Oh, I mean, Graham. No, he's here. He is here. G is watching. He's always watching. What do you guys think? Do you reckon that EA will ever be in a position where they want to sell either some of their assets or their entire gaming catalogue? Because once they lose that, what have they got? What else have they got? They'll never want to get rid of their assets. It's just whether or not they think they can potentially have someone come in alongside them, like Dragon's Den or Shark Tank if you're in America, where they will sell 20% of their IP, and then hopefully a silent partner will come in, be able to use their expertise, use their contacts, make this a behemoth, even more of a behemoth, and then they will get their 20% back or whatever else. I'm not sure how these deals will be on the table for people, but introducing the likes of Apple, Amazon, and Disney and trying to get them talking about the product, trying to get them invested in what they have available, it's only going to drive the price up, and it's also going to be very difficult for people to be able to come together to purchase this in the first place. Lotus is there. He says, "Yeah, nan." You see, on this monitor, it's a shit monitor, this second one. I've got 3 monitors, not showing off or anything, but this second one is really old. It's like an 8-year-old Samsung one, and the colours are starting to go in it, so I'm having to hover over that to find out what it actually says, and it says your nan. That tickled me. So yeah, it looks like this is going to be in the news for a while. It will be probably the biggest sale available on the market if it ever goes through. Cheeky Monoflex, it's really not. Believe me, if you'd see these... Oh, no, I've only got one worth talking about, and it's my newest one. The others are shit. But we make do with what we've got, do you know what I mean? We'll make do with what we've got. But yeah, we'll move on to the next news article because we haven't got really much else to say about that. Moving swiftly on then. Right, okay, so as I said, we've got 2 PlayStation topics here. Let me just get the other one up as well. We'll move into this first one, because I think this is much more of a talking point than the other one, especially when it comes down to streaming and making content. I think this is a fantastic addition. So, moving into the news. That didn't even have a transition, that did it? It just fucked right off. Thought people just called you lumps. Nope, that's not it. Lumps had a shit accent, thank you very much. Did it say lumps? Did I actually say lumps? I apologise if that's the case. EA Sports, partly up for sale. All right, so moving into the article and written on the Gamer by VASPAAN DASTOOR. PlayStation Network might be coming to PC. Sony may be finally ramping up their PC integration. Unlike Xbox, PlayStation is taking its time with integration to PC. Sony has launched some of its first-party titles on Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War on PC, albeit a long time after their console launches. However, it appears the company may be ramping things up on the PC side of things with the possibility of PlayStation Network coming to PC. The news comes as courtesy of a job listing for Director Product Manager for PC game experiences spotted by DualShockers. The position is based in San Francisco, San Diego, Los Angeles, or Orange County and require candidates to lead and grow the PlayStation PC game experience, product organization, including staffing, leadership, and employee development. But that part that stands out the most is that lead and evolve the PlayStation game experience roadmap for all game-related experiences, including SDK development, client application experiences, and PlayStation Network platform integration. It is unclear how exactly Sony aims to the integration from PSN to PC, but From the timing of it, it seems like the new PlayStation Plus tier system has something to do with it. Considering that there are still only a handful of Sony first-party games available on PC as of now, it could be theorized that Sony will port more of them before announcing a separate PlayStation Plus tier for PC. Of course, all of this should be taken with a pinch of salt, as it may not amount to anything as of yet. Sony recently revealed that a list of games will be playable on the PlayStation Plus tier system as part of the PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium Deluxe plans. Players will get access to players like God of War, Bloodborne, Horizon Zero Dawn. Additionally, remakes and remasters such as Shadow of the Colossus, The Last of Us, and Wipeout Amiga Collection. Indie hits such as Celeste, Dead Cells, and Outer Wilds will also feature on the list. It also includes some PlayStation 2 games and a lot more PlayStation 4 games as well. It did list them on there, but I ain't going to sit here and go through all of those. So the main crux of the article then, it looks like all this has spawned from a job listing on a website which has hinted that some PlayStation, some PC integration will be coming to PlayStation Network, or vice versa. PlayStation Network stuff will be integrated into PC soon. Okay, so I actually love this because, as explained before, it will help. It will help everyone, but it will definitely help content creators when it comes to creating content and getting their party in there. So, for example, as mentioned before, yesterday, obviously I was playing some Fortnite, getting dubs, you know, as you do, and in build mode, you know what I mean? It's easy light work. I don't understand why I ever left, if I'm being perfectly honest, but it's very difficult to be able to get people in on your comms if you are a streamer and you don't have everything set up. So I don't have PlayStation Party Chat set up on my PC via my console. I'm fairly certain it'll just be as easy as plugging something into the bottom of my controller and then into my capture card. I'm fairly certain it's going to be that easy. I haven't tried it yet, and I didn't want to start unplugging stuff while I was in the middle of a stream. But Graham wanted to play, and he didn't want to go up to his setup. Therefore, I didn't think that it wouldn't be worthwhile pulling everything apart for that. But if he was playing on Xbox, he'd fire up the Xbox, I'd fire up the game bar, I would click on his name, invite to party, lo and behold, the party chat from the Xbox will be coming through to my PC, and then it works seamlessly. We don't have to get a Discord involved. We could be using the native party chat, which is awesome. It's something that we don't have on the Xbox yet, which is a pain in the ass. So if you had people who was playing on PSN that don't have Discord, or they don't have the facility to be able to just plug some earphones into the phone, because phones don't have earphone jacks anymore, and you can't just plug a pair of earphones in like you used to do back in the day. We don't have that facility now. So therefore, it's a barrier. It's a barrier of entry. If we can get a PSN game bar on the PC as well to mirror what we already get on the Xbox, fantastic. That'll be amazing. That is what we're working towards. That is what, obviously, I think will be included as part of one of these premium or deluxe plans. You get the top tier one like Xbox Game Pass. You get access to all the PC games, the game bar and stuff like that. I mean, the game bar's free, but you've got the opportunity to be able to play with people on the Xbox while playing on PC. I'm guessing that's what PSN is going to try and emulate at some point. It wouldn't be crazy to try and take away what Game Pass are doing and try and make something for yourself. They've already tried this with PlayStation Now. Didn't work. They're reevaluating. They're looking at what people want, and then they're trying to move in that direction. And that is a round of applause thing for me. I think they're taking note of what people want, and they're trying to work towards it. There is no shame in saying that you got it wrong the first time. They're going to try and work towards making it work this time. No shame in that whatsoever. The biggest news on the IC meetup is in August, not this PlayStation scrub stuff. We actually have a lot more news coming for that in the coming weeks. You may see something fairly soon, actually, but yes, we are working towards an ICU meetup in August. Dates TBC. What it's actually going to consist of, TBC. But yes, we are working towards that. So we appreciate everyone that's got back to us in the Discord about having a massive piss up and a meet up at some time in August. That's definitely something to look forward to and get in your calendars. Lotus says PlayStation get more games, but burgers and drinks with the boys sounds better. Absolutely. And I tell you what, the first round will be on me. First 12 people, because that's why I'll bring a crate. First 12 beers on me. And you can't, it's one per customer, obviously, one per customer. But yeah, PlayStation are working towards trying to make something more Games Passy. That's the be all and end all of it. They're trying to make it a lot more Xboxy, which is fair. I heard we stayed at Bibby Towers and G's Catering. If you want to all come to Newton, if you all want to come down this way, then feel free to. I do have a 3-bedroom house, technically 2 because my office is one of them. So bring your inflatable mattresses and you can all camp out in the back garden. I'll get the big gazebo out. That's fine by me. Absolutely no problems there. So moving on to the next news article, then we'll keep it within the PlayStation realm, shall we? While we're on the topic of that, we'll give Tito his 2 minutes in the sun with an Xbox One later on. PlayStation tops 100 million users ahead of PlayStation Plus Premium rollout, as mentioned in the last article. This has been written by Don Peppiatt over at VG247. It might be Games Pass that make the most headlines, but Sony's PlayStation Network isn't shirking at its money-making duties. So, in a world where people can't help but compare Xbox to PlayStation, we don't do that often. PlayStation to Xbox Live, we don't do that often. Games Pass to whatever PlayStation Premium will be getting and end up being, we don't do that often. It's hard to say objective about what the numbers are, but a new report from the PlayStation parent company, it's fair to say that Sony is indeed raking it in. In the latest corporate strategy meeting presentation, Sony announced that its PlayStation Network currently generates a frankly eye-watering 14 billion, because that was listed in yen. My head just decided to fall off, but it's listed there in dollars as well. So 14 billion in sales per year. That is up to 6.27 billion from 2021. The company noted that over 100 million monthly active users contribute to this staggering number, as Kiriashi Yoshida, CEO of Sony Group, extols the virtues of having a loyal customer base attached to a monthly subscription service. And that benefit is only liable to become more obvious as PlayStation rolls out its newly refreshed PlayStation Plus tiers in the coming months. Sony announced that PlayStation Plus will be split into 3 tiers going forward, was made back in March, and we see the future split between PlayStation Plus Essential, Extra, and Premium Plus. Sorry, Plus Premium. Just Premium. Take shape. It stands to reason that Sony is only going to get more confident in its subscription services. And why not? Sony has, of course, announced plans to purchase Destiny developer Bungie in an earth-shaking $3.6 billion deal back in February 2022, and it's clear that Sony is targeting multi-platform subscriptions based on models for its future. Given that Sony has also noted it will continue to look at the right times to bring in PlayStation exclusives to PC, it stands to reason that we could even see PlayStation Plus services extend beyond PlayStation hardware at some point. Former Sony staff has been critical of Xbox focus on subscription models before. Former PlayStation boss Sean Layden said in 2021 that Game Pass cannot sustain its 120 million games until it has 500 million subscribers. With Sony only at a fifth of that, suggested that number on PlayStation Network, can PlayStation support its plans with the revamped PlayStation Plus in years to come? It remains to be seen. Either way, ahead of the launch of PlayStation Plus Premium, that is definitely my slack. I apologise. Oh my god, it's still going on. Either way, ahead of the launch of PlayStation Plus Premium, it's undeniable that it has been announced for a year for Sony. Let's see if that continues to 2023. For those that are using Slack, how many of you just looked into your Slack to see whether or not that message was for you? It wasn't. It was for me. So yeah, I apologise. But yeah, it looks like Sony are making money hand over fist, as you'd expect. It has the most consoles out in the wild, which most people are buying consoles to play online. Is that a little bit of sick from me, boy? It absolutely is. He can't help himself. Oh, for God's sake. Joys of being a parent, you're just covered in sick all the time. Yeah, it's... PlayStation have the most consoles out in the wild, so it's blatantly obvious that they will be making money hand over fist. People aren't buying consoles just to be able to play the offline stuff. They are buying it to mostly be playing multiplayer things, or if they do want to play, if they do want to be playing offline stuff, they will still have a PlayStation Active account in the least expensive bracket, so that they may be able to get the free monthly games. They may be able to jump online and have party chats and things like that. It makes sense for them to be able to do that at as little cost as possible. Having 3 breakout tiers going forward will significantly increase the amount of money that they will be making. This, it feels like I'm talking to you like you're stupid, but all of you understand how business works, right? The more people that come in, the more potential money that you will be making, especially when you split it down into 3 separate tiers as well, because you will have the hardcore that will purchase the top tier, and everybody else will fight for the other 2 tiers. They will be fighting for the least expensive one. Then you'll have people who aren't sure, that may be sitting in the middle one, that don't play every single day, but they just want the added extra things. Like the people who are hardcore that that will want the demos will be buying the top tier. They will want to be playing their PlayStation 2 games. They will want to play all the backwards compatible stuff. Like this just makes sense from a PlayStation standpoint. It's not the exact same model of what Xbox have done with their Game Pass model, like having 3 separate tiers, and then Game Pass Ultimate, where you have your Xbox Live, and then you have your PC games, then you have your console games. It's very similar to that, but I don't think that the PlayStation 1 is quite there yet. I don't think it's a very good offering. It's quite expensive, but I do believe that the Xbox One is still extremely good value for money. I still think the PlayStation have some work to do with that, but they've obviously costed up how much they think that it will cost based on how many people will be subscribing to them, or will be jumping from the normal PlayStation price now all the way up to the most expensive one, which I think was £19 a month or something around that figure. It may be £18 so the least expensive one will cost 10, and the most expensive one we'll call it 20 for the sake of this, and the middle one will be 15. Like, how many people will be going from the 10 to the 20? I'd probably say like 20-30% of the current player base. Maybe less than that. How many people will go to the $15 one? I'd probably say like 50%. They'll want that extra bit of guff, even if it's not for a year. They might not pay the yearly fee. They may do it for a couple of months. They may do it for the 3-month or the 6-month plan. But I do feel like most people will be looking to try the other 2 tiers, see how much time they spend with that, whether or not it's a long-term investment. I'm not too sure. But chances are PlayStation are going to be raking it in even more with this. Again, it's not rocket science. There is more consoles out in the wild than there is on the PlayStation, than there is on the Xbox. They, of course, will be making more money. But I'm excited to see what the future holds for PlayStation, and see how they fight the Xbox Game Pass market. I love Xbox. I have an Xbox Series S. I play most of my PC games via Xbox Game Pass. Like, I love it's just quality. It's just the biggest bang for the best deal in gaming is Xbox Game Pass, and I'm just interested to see how, because it looks like PlayStation are targeting now. We've said for a long time, when will they look to get into the Game Pass market? It looks like they are doing. This is their second foray into that after PlayStation now was a complete disaster. I'm interested to see how they push on from this. I think most of the world is as well. I heard they were staying at Peppiatt Towers. Spam is for everyone, absolutely. I mean, that will cost more than the actual meetup itself. I need a place to sleep, so I'll bring a pillow. Fuck playing a hotel. The JMK says the right time, meaning that we good enough offer. They mean exactly. Iceman says, well, Tito was here, so taking it like we're stupid works for him, and my keyboard, apparently, says Iceman. JMK says, it's like Skyrim. Keep bringing out new versions and consoles. Bibby will keep on buying them all. Absolutely. Give the people what they want. If it's more Skyrim, give them more Skyrim. Do you know what I mean? It's not a difficult thing. What people want, try and incorporate their wants and needs into your business plan, and I can guarantee that you'll start to get more money. It's not rocket science. Like, you can roll out 1,000,001 things, but if a million things aren't what they want, but the one thing is, then that's where you'll start to get more money. Again, it genuinely feels like I'm talking to everyone like they're stupid, but sometimes companies make decisions and you're like, that just feels so out of touch with everything. Like, what everyone wants is literally there for you to be able to see. But they'll go around the houses. They'll get there eventually, maybe 2 years down the line, but they'll get there eventually. It's just annoying, the road to get where you need to go to. Like, I can't believe how long the PlayStation Now lasted. Everyone I know that has a PlayStation has not subscribed to PlayStation Now. How much would that have been costing them to be able to have all of these games in the cloud on servers with no people subscribing to it? It's bizarre. It's taken them like 4 or 5 years for them to realize, like, Dave, how many people have we got subscribed to PlayStation Now? Let me just check. 1 active monthly user, and it's me. Like, I don't understand it. I'll never understand how a lot of business works, which is obviously why I never got a degree in business. It's just not my area of expertise, so I don't know. Like, it feels like the writing's been on the wall for PlayStation Now for a long time, and I'm glad that they finally woke up and gone, do you know what? Bin this shit off. We'll just start to create a new marketing campaign. We'll get someone in the background to put out 3 different subscription types and then see if people buy into it. And I can guarantee I mean, it's made me happy, and I will probably subscribe to the top tier for maybe 3 months to give it a chance. And then if I like it, I'll probably buy the yearly subscription. If I like it and I use it enough. Obviously, because of this guy coming into the world, my gaming needs and wants are probably about 4 hours a week. But obviously, my boy comes first. This little boy, he comes first in my life, and obviously spending as much time as I humanly can with him is my priority. So gaming, like last night, going to bed at like 9:15, fucked. He went to bed at 7 o'clock. I went to bed at 9 o'clock. Like, I would just bollocks because I get up so early with him on a weekend. It's just the way it is. Like, I really want to play games, but I can't because I'm knackered. And obviously, we've got work in the morning. So, yeah, it's the way that people consume games is obviously a lot different than it was, but way back when. But Game Pass is making money. Why can't PlayStation have a chunk of that too? Is essentially where we're getting with this. So we have 2 news stories left. Which one shall I go for first? Do we have 2 news stories left? I might only have 1, you know. Ah, no, I opened the same one twice. Okay. Yeah. Do you know what, Tito? Just for you. Just for you. I'll chuck in an Xbox news article for you here. How's about that, eh? Don't say that I don't treat you well. I don't know why that... there we go. Transition decided to work. Ooh. So, written on The Gamer by Josh Coulson, he states that Xbox reportedly turned down Marvel's offer to make exclusive games. Wow, what a drop bollock that was, eh? Spider-Man could have been on the Xbox. Spider-Man could have been an Xbox exclusive, but apparently Microsoft turned down Marvel when approached. So moving into the main body of the article, and the huge part of PlayStation's success in the past decade has been fueled by its exclusives. The Last of Us, God of War, and perhaps most notably, Spider-Man, Insomniac's PlayStation 4 exclusive, arrived in 2018, and it became an instant hit, selling more than 20 million copies. History could have been so very different, though, as apparently Microsoft and Xbox were approached by Marvel games at the same time as Sony, but the PlayStation rival turned them down. That's according to the Ultimate History of Video Games Volume 2. This details the surrounding Marvel's deal with Sony and Microsoft passing it up have been shared on Reset Era. When Jae-Young was hired to be Marvel's VP of Games back in 2014, his challenge was to figure out why the MCU's box office clout hadn't been echoed in the video game world. Whilst there have certainly been beloved Marvel games that had sold well, there was nothing doing massive numbers. Ong passed on approaching Nintendo since it primarily focused on its own IPs and got in touch with PlayStation and Xbox, pitching a vision that would include at least one Marvel game that could rival the quality and popularity of the Arkham series, which is Batman, by the way. Microsoft passed up on the opportunity to have a future Marvel game on board as an Xbox exclusive, citing that it was focused on its own IP at the time. Sony took Marvel up on the offer and turned the project over to Insomniac, and works began on the first Spider-Man game. Even though, like Xbox, Insomniac tended to focus more on its own projects whilst working on pre-existing IPs, games like Sunset Overdrive convinced those who put the power in Insomniac's hands that it was the right studio for the job. There was one other hurdle, though, as Marvel needed to overcome before it asked Sony and Insomniac with creating a separate Spider-Man game, getting the web slingers license away from Activision. Responsible for the Spider games in the turn of the century, striking a deal with the studio sounded like it was surprisingly easy. Activision wished Ong luck and finding a new unicorn when it told them the reason for cutting the deal short was to find Spider-Man a better home. Fast forward 8 years, and Insomniac has worked with Marvel and Sony on 2 Spider-Man games and a third on the way, and also a Wolverine title in the works too. Suffice to say, Insomniac was definitely the unicorn Marvel and Ong were looking for. So, just to rub the salt in even more into the wounds of Tito, he's asking me, why, Bibby, or why did you want to bring this news to me today, to my delicate ears, as Xbox turned down one of the biggest franchises, one of the biggest selling IPs in video game history, and turn it down. It's unfortunate. It happens to the best of them, but unfortunately it looked like Xbox turned down what is probably one of the biggest games of the 21st century in Spider-Man, both of them. And then obviously the opportunity to work on Wolverine and a third Spider-Man game. Listen, it happens. Would this have changed the dynamics of how PlayStation and Xbox are against each other? I definitely think it would have had a bigger part to play. And I say this as PlayStation enthusiasts, as a lot of people ended up buying PlayStation 4s and PlayStation 3s for the single player storylines. And I know Xbox has them as well, but does it do it as well as PlayStation? I don't think it has in the last 10 years. I mean, I think this is probably common knowledge. I don't think I'll be offending anyone. I don't think the fanboys will be going after me with this. They probably will do. But turning down something like Spider-Man for your console, was it a risk at the time? Was they looking at what Activision had done in the past and go, do you know what? It was an okay game. The storytelling was okay. It was based on movie tie-ins. Like, did it do amazing numbers? Do we think that a next-gen version of these games will be great? Do we think that we've got the capabilities in the studio to be able to look after it? Obviously, Xbox were just like, well, we've got Gears of War in the works. We've got another Forza. We've got Halo that's been delayed 1,000,001 times. Like, they have games, Xbox. I'm not saying that they don't. But to turn down Spider-Man, something that Sony Studios, the Sony Pictures own, Marvel don't own Spider-Man. They had to sell him. Like, this could have been the one-upmanship. This could have been the tide turner. This could have been this console-selling game and turn the tide for Xbox, but unfortunately it didn't work out that way. And that's not to say Xbox won't obviously get back into the game again. They have released Halo when it came out was probably a solid 9 out of 10. It just turns out that it's just been left to die a little bit. It's not kicked onto the next gear. Forza and Forza Horizon, we might be getting a new motorsport at some point, but Horizon is kicking ass out there at the moment. Like, Gears seems to be on the back burner. We don't have anything new from that for the time being. So it's difficult out there for Xbox. There will be some tide turning games coming out at some point. Obviously, buying Bethesda means that they have an infinite amount of resources when it comes to things like Doom and Elder Scrolls and Prey, Fallout. Eventually, when a new one comes out, they've obviously got Starfield that's been pushed back. Like, Xbox are fine. They bought studios rather than having them create games for them, which is absolutely fine. If you've got the money, why not? Football teams do it all the time. You haven't got a centre defensive midfielder, go out and buy one. I'm talking about City, by the way. If you haven't got a defender, go out and buy 4. Like, if you haven't got a striker, don't worry about it. We'll play without one for 3 seasons. We'll just put Phil Foden or Raheem Sterling in midfield. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's they either make do or they go out and buy. And rather than making do, they've gone out and bought. Xbox are fine. They'll have games coming out, first party games that will blow the socks off people. But this could have been blowing socks off people 6 years ago. Like, is it even longer than that now? When did it say it come out? My timing has just gone way off. So we moved in 2014, and then the original Spider-Man came out in 2018. That's 4 years ago. Shit. So yeah, 4 years ago. It could have been changed before towards the end of the last generation. They could have had a launch title game, Miles Morales, yeah. You know what I mean? There could have been a launch title for Xbox. They didn't have one. They could have had one right there. The tide could have been turning, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm saying. This could have been revolutionary for Xbox. But unfortunately it wasn't. It's one of those things. So moving on to the last news article of the day, then let's get this bad boy back on the screen. News. There we go. Oh, look at that transition. It actually bloody works. The days of Metacritic determining how well a game sells are no longer... One second. I realise that I don't have chatbot on, which is obviously a massive mistake. So I'm just going to get that going. The days of Metacritic determining how well a game sells are long gone, says Saber boss, written by Don Peppiatt over at VGC 24/7. After finding success with both Evil Dead, the game, and World War Z, Saber CEO Matt Karch says games can look beyond Metacritics for success. Do you know what? I actually agree with this. But moving on to the article anyway. It's been a good week for Embracer Group and Saber Interactive after the publisher-developer combo announced that Evil Dead the game sold 500,000 units in under a week. It's become clear that there's an appetite for all things multiplayer, horror... Oh, this has just come up on the screen. Right, yep. Chatbot's on. Fantastic. For all things multiplayer horror, a trend helped in popularity by the runaway success of games like Dead by Daylight. Let me play this... Yeah, that's okay, that's off. During Embracer Group's Q4 report presentation, Saber Interactive CEO Matthew Karch was asked about the launch of Evil Dead the game, with a host of presentations bringing up the game's review scores, which he says aren't fantastic, but for the genre are quite solid. In response, Karch notes that the Saber team is pleasantly subscribed by the scores to date, which have to date again, today, exceeded the team's internal targets. The other thing that we've learned, Karch continues, is the days of Metacritic scores determining how well a game sells are long gone. Games these days are sold by social media, by influencers, and by buzz, as per Karch. End quote. Another quote here. Games are sold by the quality of the product itself, irrespective of how well a game performs. I can name games that have scored 8s or 9s that I can tell you the publishers wish they'd never released. It's nice to put a plaque on your wall, but if you can't afford the nail to hang the plaque, what's the point, right? Fantastic analogy. Hitting at Elden Ring in its dominance in the market in the early part of 2022, Karch explained that it's hard launching and monetizing a game when there is such a juggernaut to operate around. But the developers learned that there are plenty of ways to monetize products after launch, that even premium games are no longer about what's being put in the box, hoping the first month scores well, and then forgetting about it. Karch says that in the case of Evil Dead, the game, it's both reviewing and selling better than the publisher has expected, and is a little surprised by its success. To support its initial jog out of the gate, the CEO notes that it will continue to be supported with lengthy DLC roadmaps, because when a game has a long tail, it needs to be supported. And if you want more from the Evil Dead, the game, fret not. Karch refers to the game as the first in a new franchise and repeatedly refers to the strongest legs and long tail of the title. So aside from the extensive roadmap that Saber has already laid out, you can likely expect to see other games continue the legacy of Sam Raimi's cult series. Karch also said that Saber, which has over 50 titles in the works, has plans to release similar games that rely on similar past horror licenses and explore new area of the gaming market. For now, Karch looks forward to see The Evil Dead, the game, continue to kick butt. Okay. I haven't played this game, but from what it looks like, it just stinks of its competitor, which is Dead by Daylight. That's what it looks like to me. But that's not a bad thing. If you've got something that's insanely good, that's in the market, you can try and emulate it, but it needs to be different enough to stand out. That is essentially what's happened with Battle Royales. Battle Royales are rife in the market now. Every game that comes out will have probably a Battle Royale tie-in with it, or it will just be a Battle Royale game. It's essentially that. And this is just taking what makes, I imagine, Dead by Daylight extremely pleasant to play and continue to play, and trying to emulate that and add a little bit more. It will not surprise me at some point in the future if Evil Dead does what Dead by Daylight does as well, and then have a load of other movie tie-ins. Will we see Freddy Krueger in this? Probably. Will we see Alien or Predator in this? Absolutely. Will we see Terminator in this? Probably not, because I don't think it's horror enough. But like, will you see Jigsaw in this from Saw? Probably. Like, for them to be able to continue to support this game, it has to include characters like that. It will probably have some funky ones like they did in Dead by Daylight when Resident Evil came into it and Jill Valentine was running around while... was it Professor X? Professor X, Jesus Christ. Was it Mr. X or was it Nemesis running around after them? I can't remember. I didn't really pay that much attention to it because it's not my kind of game. But they do have other video game tie-ins. Will this get it? Maybe. But that's the kind of roadmap that they need for the game to continue. Cream Team says Texas Chainsaw Massacre game coming too. Case in point, look at Deathloop and its sales, critically and amazing, but the sales weren't there. And also Evil Dead was shockingly good, says Cream Team. Exactly, like, games don't always live and die by how well they've done on Metacritic, and that's exactly what he's saying. I firmly believe that as well, because most games will probably have some kind of influencer promoting the game on behalf, because why would you want to spend hundreds of £1,000,000 on marketing during a Super Bowl or on TV or on social media when you can just get someone who's insanely popular to play the game for a couple of hours and have maybe 200,000 people coming in to watch that game being played, probably at a very high level, rather than someone like me who will be playing the game and playing it at a terrible level and then not selling any copies. Like, marketing teams nowadays have moved, and they are understanding what sells games. It's not just putting them on billboards. It's not just having them at bus stops on advertising boards. Like, getting the right people to play the right video games at the right time will sell you more copies, rather than just expecting word of mouth or buying PlayStation Magazine and seeing it in there. We are well away from that now. I'm fairly certain most people understand this as well, but a lot of people in marketing probably don't, which is worrying. We've seen a lot of games go under because bad decisions have been made. Case in point, the little yellow case up there, you probably already understand what that is by now, so I'm not going to out it again for the sake of just sticking the boot in. But sometimes taking the simple approach to things is probably the best way. Enzo says, GG baby, I'm sick of seeing Klops and mad teeth. Cream Team says, hey, what up, buddy? Enzo says, yo, Cream Team, how's life? Cream Team replies, you know, every day's experience. How about you, my friend? I'm just going to jump in here and say I'm doing fine, thank you very much. But yeah, Evil Dead, would I be interested in playing it? If Saber Interactive decide to give us 5 keys, I will be over the moon to be able to give this a go. I don't think it's a game that I will necessarily want to pick up off my own back and play it as a single player. It's probably not that kind of game. But yeah, I mean, I'm open to playing community games. Same with Among Us. I can play that game on Game Pass right now. Will I? No, because that means I'm playing with a load of random people. It's just not the kind of game that I want to get stuck into. But yeah, hopefully the game does well, because obviously the Evil Dead is a massive franchise. I remember playing an Evil Dead game on my PlayStation 1 way back in the day. I had no idea what was going on with it. I think I was a little too young to be playing that game to understand exactly what was going on. Will it thrive? I think it needs a big player base behind it. It needs content. A game like this needs content. So best of luck to the guys over at Saber. I hope that the game does well for you, and I love the fact that they're looking beyond normal marketing techniques to try and get the game out there, and it looks like it's paying for them. Forget Among Us, we need a crew for Don't Starve, says Enzo. Death Stranding 2 incoming, says Cream Team. Yo, Kojima kept asking me to showcase Death Stranding, but I told him to give it a break, mate, says Enzo. I mean, to be fair, with a game like that, you probably couldn't pay me to play it, unless it was a lot of money. The offer's there. The offer is there. But also, what's there is us no longer. That is it for today's show. If you want to help shape the remaining 4 shows this week, there is 2 ways that you can do so. First of all, find us on social media. It is at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms. Green Team with the Death Stranding FUD with 100 bits. I appreciate that, mate. Listen, we're halfway there now. Gaga, there we go with another sub as well. Bound to be a second loot drop now. There you go.
Bound to be due a second loot drop now.
There you go, the TTS. I always forget that the TTS does that. Always catches me out. But the loot drop will be drawn, not next Monday because that's the 30th. It will be drawn in 2 weeks on the 6th of June. Yeah, that's not a bank holiday or anything, is it? No, it's not. 6th of June looks like we're going to be drawing the next loot drop. We're not too sure what the prize is yet, so we'll get back to you with all that. But as I was mentioning before, again, this is the Scoop. We go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m.-ish. Obviously, it was 1:15 today, but I appreciate you guys jumping in as and when we do go live. Anyway, Gaga, I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. But yeah, if you want to help shape the shows, 2 ways. First of all, find social media. That's Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms, or alternatively, get involved with our Discord. There is a link to our Discord. Here is a link to our socials. All we need from you is a URL plus your thoughts and impressions. We will then give you our thoughts and impressions on the very next show, which potentially could be from the studio tomorrow. I will be in the studio tomorrow. I don't know if Graham will be. It depends what's going on with life at the moment. But yeah, we're going to pass the raid over to somebody else. I very much appreciate every single one of you that have joined us for today's episode of The Scoop / Dollop. I'm going to find someone to raid. Stick around. You'll get some sprinkles. A lot of people are trying to get as many sprinkles as possible to be mods of this channel going forward. But as always, guys, there's one thing that we want you to do. And that, my friends, is to stay frosty.